Oh?
Aye, it seems like you're carrying a rare book there, young lady.
Yeah.
Oh, this thing? To be fair, books in general are pretty rare across Dana. Even so, I can tell it's particularly unique and special. As the librarian here, I couldn't ask you to consider donating it to me, could you? Could I?
Yeah.
I don't think I could part with this one. I need this book to fight Zoogles and stuff.
Why?
Goodness, I had no idea there were any such books used for combat. All the more reason I simply must get my hands on it. Lord Doha, sweetie, you must convince her to part with it somehow, please.
What?
I must. To be quite honest, I would rather she hold on to it as well. But I, Tigrina, was appointed by you to serve as the palace's librarian, so as to keep these precious books safe for future generations. You must do something. I simply can't do my job without having the books I need in my care. Please, Lord Doha. This is quite the conundrum. I'm not sure what to do.
Yeah. Got it.
Look, I'm not letting this book out of my sight, but you can take a look at it while we're here if you like. If I find any new books while we're traveling, I'll bring them to you. Does that work for you?
Great.
Absolutely. I really do wish I could have your book, but I'll gladly accept that as a compromise. In return, every time you have something to show me, I'll give you something special in return. Lord Doha, I do hope a generous budget is forthcoming. The arts must be preserved. Unfortunately, that isn't my call to make, seeing as I no longer serve as Lord here, but you make a compelling argument. Don't be shy about bringing me lots and lots of books now. I'll be here eagerly awaiting them. So how am I supposed to show her books? Do I show her
I hate that woman.
She was a handful, wasn't she?
What's wrong with being passionate? Not to mention, she was kind of cute.
Of course that's why you like her.
Do I just show her the books I earned? Secrets of the Stars, eh? That's an old beaten up book you have there. What is it, I wonder? I sense much warmth from it, but also an aura of sadness emanating from its pages. Tell me, where did you find such a book?
Well...
It's a prized heirloom that used to belong to a certain clan. You could say I inherited it. That's why I can't give it away. I understand now. You must forgive my keenness to obtain it. I'm sure you don't have it easy as a fellow book collector yourself. Nevertheless, I sense that your passion for them is quite genuine. Will you bring me any other books you happen to come across? I'd really love to see them.
Yeah.
Sure, no problem. Yay, happy bottles. Increases max AG. Okay.
I don't think I'll ever quite warm up to her, but I can respect her passion for books.
So yeah, I just have to show her.
You've got a good sense for people, don't you, Dohalim?
You honor me with your kind words.
So I guess I just show her the books that I have equipped or whatever.
That can't be.
My word, for such a serene title as Nature's Beauty, this book is so ferocious, like a tornado, truly breathtaking.
No.
It's too powerful. I fear it's going to blow my clothes straight off.
Oh, wow!
Really? Oh my god, Law.
Hey.
Hey, what are you getting so excited for? I am? All you boys are the same. Ugh. Oh, now don't get yourself down. You're too cute to be so angry. Wouldn't you agree, handsome?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, lighten up, Rinwell.
Oh?
While you're out searching for your next book, I suggest you read up a little on men and how their minds work. No, I'll tell you how their minds work. Pretty. That's pretty much it. We like pretty things.
Why?
Taming Water. A moving title if I ever heard one. It shakes me to the core, fills my heart with tears. Such drama, such dolor. I'm going to be soaking wet before I finish. I can't turn my eyes away, Law.
Watch it.
From what? I wasn't talking to you. Quit trying to butt in.
Hey.
I'll be taking the book back now. I'll bring you more if you're lucky. But I haven't gotten to the end yet. Law is awful.
Oh?
My word, this tome truly lives up to the radiant light of its title. With every page, it glows more and more brightly. How joyous it must feel to have someone reading you. But I need you to calm down, okay? Otherwise, I can't see what's inside you.
Huh?
Is it just me, or is she talking to that book? Maybe she's having some sort of hallucination you only get from enjoying books so much?
No way.
You mean she's addicted to reading? That explains it. Never trust a bookworm.
Hey!
Don't let me in with that woman. Books are so wonderful for their ability to transport people to brand new worlds. What you see when reading them is nothing to be afraid of. Trust me, darlings.
Something feels odd here. Be on your guard.
Could it be whatever that thing over there is flapping its giant wings? Could that be what it is?
I just noticed none of you other Danans have spirit cores. Why is that?
Both of my parents were part of the resistance in Calaglia. In fact, my birth was kept a secret from the Renans.
Mine too. We always lived in hiding, so I never had a spirit core embedded in me like I was supposed to.
What about you, Alphen? You were a slave in Calaglia before all this, weren't you?
To be completely honest, I'm not sure why I don't have one. All the other Danan slaves around me did. I was the only exception. They tended to keep their distance from me to avoid attracting any attention from the soldiers, because of my mask and all. What about you, Kisara? Do you still have your spirit core?
No. I was able to find a good Renan doctor who's sympathetic to our kind, and had them remove it before I left. They did such a great job, the procedure didn't even leave a scar.
One of the benefits of coexistence, huh?
I know that once the spirit vessel was shut down, there wasn't much need for me to hurry. But still, I didn't like having that mark of servitude lingering on me any longer than I had to. It may sound a little strange to hear me say this, but I'm just me now. Not a guardsman or a slave. I'm my own woman. And this is my chance to have a new beginning.
This sure is one rugged road. You'd think they'd keep this at least a little better maintained, right?
Why spend energy fixing that which is rarely used? Repairs require time and effort, which in our world means slaves, often in great numbers. For you, it may be a simple request, but that can quickly become another's difficult burden. Nobody gains anything without someone expending effort.
And you know, somehow that someone always ends up being a Danan, while the Renans are the ones who gain.
True enough. Ideally, in a perfect world, I think it's only fair that the ones who need it should be the ones to perform the work.
However, when doing so could be dangerous like it is here, there are many who would prefer that it be others who risk their lives in their stead.
So, what you're saying is that people will just put up with the inconvenience until someone else comes along to fix it for them?
Indeed. And it is those who can no longer bear that feeling that inevitably take action. Much like the Danans in our group do so now. As strange as it may be to hear such a thing from the likes of myself.
It's true that most of the Danans in Calaglia have been resigned to just accepting things as they are. Still, we can't just blame them for...
What are you making that face for? You're not worn out already, are you?
Nah, just regretting I ever said anything in the first place.
Alright, so what is this thing flapping over here on the side? Oh, it's just some regular... Okay. They had me all worked up. I thought it was like going to be some giant monsters, just some birds. Dumb birds.
We're in for a long slog with this one.
Where are you going? Look up! That's it! Turn your blade! Airborne beast! My special! Look sharp! Elusive deity! Take this! Glacial
The
spear!
airborne scoundrels!
Sounds like a job for yours truly!
Rising Wyvern!
Elusive deity!
Mirage!
Look sharp! Let's give it a whirl! On guard! Lightning!
Here I come!
Hear me!
It's
Blade of
over.
fury! Burning!
Rondo!
Glacial spear! Pierce evil!
Mirage!
This one's
Here I
mine!
come! You're
Going in! With the earth!
I'm not done!
Stalagmite!
Rising Wyvern! You're finished!
Do it!
Lunar Rondo!
Go for it! Prepare to crumble! Think we overdid it?
Now! Take this!
Not by a
It's
long
over!
shot. Elusive deity!
Make it rain!
Chill!
This ends now!
Consider yourself finished!
This should make for some good weapon crafting material. This one's tough, but we have no choice.
Let me know if you need healing.
Take it! Mirage!
Elusive deity!
Take this!
I'll face you!
Luna Rondo!
I'm not so good with airborne targets.
Elusive deity!
You got flyers!
I've got this.
Here I come!
Let a marksman
You're
handle it.
All yours.
Take this!
Going in.
One more! No escape!
Elusive deity!
Tornado Rising Wyvern! Take this!
Can you take it?
It's over!
Go for it.
Prepare to crumble!
This is a pain. Why can't this Zoogle stand still?
All right.
Perhaps it's time I deployed my secret weapon. I'll stop it right where it stands. Prehinderi. Grows vines from the ground to ensnare enemies and strike them. Effective on fleet-footed enemies, this nullifies their evasive abilities and downs them.
There's nowhere to run from my art.
When he slows down, that's our chance!
It's like trying to keep up with a
In a
wall.
bind?
Take this! You're finished!
I'm all stuck there. Lightning condemned. Annihilation.
Prepare to be sealed, O fleet of foot. Actually, perhaps found is more appropriate.
Less talking, more doing. Sleep
Take
now.
this! You're finished!
Get you all tucked away.
Take this!
Pierce the evil.
Mirage!
Friend. One more time.
That's it! Can't get out of this!
Fire blade. Photon flash.
You're mine!
Piercing roar.
Take this!
It's over!
Lightning. Air strike. Piercing roar. Photon flash.
Why is it not counting?
You're mine!
Tiger blade. Burning strike. Glacial spear. Pierce evil.
No further!
Is it because they have the green on their feet?
You're mine!
Yeah, that must be what it was. So I guess while they have that green on their feet, they're still not evasive, so it wasn't counting. Okay, that makes sense. When fast enemies like wolves or monkeys appear, send in Dohalim. His boost attack will nullify their evasive abilities and keep them from dodging attacks.
Now or never!
Rising Wyvern! Soaring Light Spear!
Glacial spear. Pierce evil. Time
Here I come!
Freeze laser. Raging cascade. Lightning meteor. Dance in the wind. Pierce
You're
evil.
finished! Crush!
Light astral energy.
Their
No
arts were
escape!
interrupted!
Rising Wyvern!
Lightning condemned.
Soaring Light Spear!
Tiger
Mirage!
Hear me. Flame of fury. Lightning
Mirage!
condemned. Glacial spear. Pierce evil. Going in. Freeze laser.
Down! Your art!
Does it.
Eternal Devastation! No escape!
Going in. Dance in the wind.
Here I come!
Light astral.
It's time to finish this! Die! Consuming wildfire! Here I go!
Going in.
Take this!
Lightning
Rising
condemned.
Wyvern!
Anything in armor is all mine!
I'm all stuck.
Mirage!
On guard! That's it! Shield!
Go for it.
Prepare to crumble!
Got some interesting moves there, Dohalim. I'm glad you're on our side.
I'm simply glad to hear that I can make myself useful to you all. Huh?
What's wrong?
We seem to have come across some rather unusual objects.
What, you mean that pile of garbage?
No mere garbage, I assure you. Still, I've never seen anything shaped like it before. I'm intrigued.
Are you curious about this stuff, Rinwell?
Yeah. I think he might have found some old Danon relics. They look like the remains of a bunch of objects that disappeared after the Renans first invaded.
And yet here I am, holding them without so much as a second thought. I imagine this sight must be unsettling to you.
Not really, just that it must be nice to be a Renan who has time to indulge in stuff like that, unlike the rest of us.
Are you interested in this stuff too, Dohalim?
Charmed may be a better turn of phrase. I simply love objects that can give me a sense of what their maker was thinking, the history that went into their creation. You see, we Renans have hardly any such objects that trace back to our distant past.
I still don't understand what you two find so intriguing about it, though.
Why not? We're talking about our own culture here.
I get that, but it's not like this stuff is any use now, does it? It's just old. Real old.
Oh, but it does. Holding it in your hands like this, one can feel and engage with the distant past in a way no history book can ever accomplish.
I'll take your word for it. Well, seeing as it's Dan in history, just make sure you're careful with it. All right, Dohalim?
But of course.
Still thinking about how to act around Dohalim?
That obvious, huh? Except I don't think I'll be changing much after all. Don't get me wrong, I'm not going to stay his servant. However, I am going to treat him like a fellow comrade, the same way I would with you or anyone else. For as long as I can remember, I've spent my life protecting others. But isn't that what friends do too? Support and protect one another in times of need?
Which in the end pretty much means doing as you've always done, right? If that's what you're most comfortable with, I'm certainly not going to give you any grief over it.
Actually, I've been thinking about how I ought to act around you all as well.
Oh?
When I set out on this journey, it was to rid Eldaman and Sia of its enemies, and search for wisdom in the outside world. Wisdom that I could potentially put to use on my return. I'm grateful to you all for letting me tag along. But it got me thinking, what am I actually contributing by being here?
What are you talking about? You know how to hold a weapon, don't you? That's help enough.
Is it though? Sometimes I wish there was more I could be doing to pull my...
Oops, sorry about that. Jeez, I'm famished.
Now that you mention it, what do you guys normally do for food and meals when you're out and about on your travels?
What do you mean, what do we do? We find stuff to eat and eat it. So long as it's meat, I'm not fussy.
Eating what you like can be good for morale in the short term, but you need to think about your diet if you want to stay healthy.
Does that mean eating vegetables too?
Isn't that obvious?
It does, which I guess hasn't been happening up till now.
Yeah, to be honest, we could be eating better than we do.
Understood. In that case, I'll just have to make sure you're all staying healthy and eating right myself. Fortunately, I happen to know a thing or two about cooking as well.
You hear that, Law? Sounds like you'll be eating your greens after all.
Ugh.
What is it?
No, sorry, it's just... I was just wondering if you had any thoughts on all this.
It will do her good to have a project.
No, not Kisara. I meant you. Was there anything you wanted to add?
Me? Certainly you're not looking to me for culinary skill, I hope.
Typical Renan, leaving everything to someone else.
Rinwell, I don't think...
That said, should you need my skills on the battlefield, please rest assured I have no intention of shirking my responsibilities, regardless of who we may face.
I'm sure no one doubts that. Listen, guys, if we're traveling together, we should probably at least try to make an effort to get to know one another, don't you think?
I wouldn't get your expectations too high in that regard. Believe it or not, sometimes I'm not sure I even know myself all that well.
Rinwell just all the time so hostile to the Renans. You think she would learn? Like, I get it. Actually, maybe I don't get it. And I think about it, because she suffered just like everybody else did. But did she suffer more in some way? Is that what's going on? Like, is there something about her past that we don't know about how the Renans, like, totally destroyed something for her? Maybe that's why she's so upset. Because she's got a lot of animosity that I would have thought traveling with Shione for so long already would have kind of calmed some of that down, but it does not seem to have done that at all.
Something wrong? You look like you're deep in thought.
Not exactly. I was merely thinking about you two and your sense of etiquette.
Oh?
Etiquette?
Indeed. To be quite frank, I find your lack of manners to be nigh intolerable.
That's not being frank, that's being and forget it. Do we really need to talk about this now?
Yes. I find such impropriety on your parts to be deeply unsettling. It concerns me greatly.
What do you want us to do? We were slaves. We never got to learn how to be proper like you.
Yeah, what he said. Maybe you missed how we were just focused on surviving.
Perhaps, but Kisara here demonstrates that it's quite possible for a Denon to learn proper manners.
That's because I was given the opportunity to learn. Moreover, my duties as a guardsman required it. Not every realm is like Menancia, as you well know.
Yeah, I don't think it's fair to hold us to some other city standards.
Exactly. You've got to remember what it's been like for us living under the Rena elsewhere.
I will concede that you do indeed make a valid point. It would appear, for all my espousing the virtues of equality between our peoples, I was still looking down on the two of you.
You don't need to beat yourself up. I wasn't that offended by what you said, man.
Nevertheless, I shall mind my words from here on out. Having said that, I do believe you two would still benefit from learning the basics of proper society. I would be more than happy to teach you both when we camp out, if you like.
Yeah, no, I'll pass. Acting all prim and proper isn't really my style.
If you say so. How about you, Law? Would you like to learn? Although I suppose my first task is to reform your attitude toward the idea of good etiquette.
You're not gonna let this go, are you?
Of all the really weird things to be like nitpicky about, that's an odd one. So Kisara's like, hey, I could do some cooking, which by the way was funny because she's like, all we eat is meat. I'm sitting here going like, most of the time I cook vegetable juice, vegetable soup, and grilled mushrooms and wheat. We don't eat very much meat at all, to be honest. But that's fine. You know, if she wants to do cooking, that's great, but he's totally like, well, I could teach you how to have proper etiquette. What? What? Okay, I guess.